Fantasy Art History with Abelard and Joe.
Hey Joe,
Hey, Abelard. Happy afternoon.
happy afternoon to you.
Well,
I was just watching, did you ever watch Heat? The Michael Mann movie Heat?
is that the one where they do more crimes than have ever been put to film in a single movie?
Insane amount of criminality in Heat. It's so great.
So many crimes.
Yeah, they start by robbing a bank and then you think, are they going to commit more crimes? And then after committing any number of moving violations, they just start shooting into a crowd. But also the police are out there shooting into a crowd.
Yeah, everyone's getting in on the crime action.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah, that's a pretty good movie, actually.
So at the part where they're robbing the bank and uh, Robert De Niro or Val Kilmer or somebody says, "We're not stealing your money, we're stealing the bank's money."
Yeah, that was a cool move.
Whatever happened to bank robberies? Doesn't it seem like there aren't really any bank robberies anymore?
I think they try not to, promote it as an activity to kind of so that it's not cool.
All these crimes is we oh sure we can do wage theft fine. We can defraud people. We can commit cryptocurrency fraud. But
Abelard,
for some reason you can't rob a bank. Oh,
Abelard,
what?
are you considering a change in career?
No, I don't want to rob a bank. I'm just thinking like
I don't know. Kind of sounds like you want to rob a bank.
I just want I want someone to rob my bank.
Oh,
I'm in there writing a check. Suddenly, get on the ground.
yeah,
I'm lying down. I'm afraid.
yeah.
They get in there.
Everything's ground, but one thumb up, like.
Yeah, this is great. You never see this anymore. Just talking to the person like handcuffed next to me. Hey, what was the last time this happened to you?
Yeah,
It
right.
seemed like a 90s thing, right? But here we are.
This is a crime from more innocent era.
Yeah. Oh, I hope they put a dollar sign on the big sack that money goes into.
How about jewel theft?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it would be a much better world if jewels were essentially free for the taking. Like, if you're wearing like a jeweled necklace, you've entered yourself into a kind of worldwide free-for-all game of jewelry theft where
Ooh,
any sleight of hand practitioner is allowed to relieve you of it. And that keeps the jewels in circulation.
that sounds like fun. I bet if we instituted that, maybe less wealthy folks would get themselves frozen to death on Mount Everest and so forth. It would be good for everyone.
You mean because we'd be taking their jewels so they wouldn't be able to use them to pay for a Himalayan expedition?
I was thinking more in the terms of everyone wants a little bit of adventure and uncertainty in their lives.
Yeah.
And if that can be like, wow, you're wearing like 8 emeralds every time you leave the house so that people know that you're the sort of person who can wear that many emeralds or whatever, but
Wouldn't that be exciting? You just know the second maybe somebody makes a pass at you or whatever, and you're like,
is this about me or is it about my shiny necklace?
then you look down and your watch is missing.
Whoa.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what? Maybe this is why we play D&D because this is our only venue for exciting theft.
yeah. Stealing stuff in D&D? What a lark.
How cool.
Stealing gems? Wearing gems? Stealing gems?
Not available to peons like us in the real world.
That's
That's for
true.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any gems, do you?
No, I did. I went to a party one time where someone was wearing a pair of heirloom diamond earrings that I think were for, like their grandmothers or something like that.
Or
It does have it's got some aura to it?
wait, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so if you noticed.
I mean, I'm sure they could have been fake and I wouldn't have noticed. I'm not a big gem looker. I can't tell the difference.
Ah, you're just saying that.
I'm just little poor humble Avalon. I only look at
Yeah.
dirt and rocks.
You can't afford to look at a diamond.
No,
No.
they don't let me look at stuff like that. Guys like
Uh,
me, Go back to looking at the dirt.
Wait, hey, can we look at some art
Yeah,
instead? I
speaking of
think
looking
that
at gems.
I think they drew some dirt in some of these,
Yeah, good
so
segue.
thanks. Here we go.
What are we looking at today, Joe?
Well,
Oh, I'll let you finish working OBS.
okay, oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. We're looking at a selection of covers from the incredible
Yeah,
publication Dungeon
Dungeon
Magazine.
Magazine.
Dungeon Magazine. What was Dungeon Magazine, Abelard?
Probably a magazine that some very interesting people purchased by mistake. Dungeon Magazine was published by TSR, I think, and then Wizards of the Coast, as like an in-house magazine that had D&D adventures in it. I want to say it started off, they would also have some other kinds of adventures, like Call of Cthulhu or whatever, but then they like kind of moved over to just doing D&D stuff. I could be wrong about that.
The Tangled Web is early tabletop RPGs
Yeah.
and their publications. That's for sure. But
But Dungeon Magazine, you would specifically what was in it was adventures. So little everything from like little set piece encounters to whole adventures. Um, and then they had a companion magazine called Dragon that had more other kinds of stuff.
I wouldn't. Well, we should take a look at that one too. Maybe it's got even crazier covers
Yeah,
because
this one's pretty crazy.
this one's pretty good. First of all, great logo.
I would love to see something with a logo like this again. I yearn for, and like the beautiful like flat color and everything.
Yeah, it's so good. That little orb inside of the D is so nice looking.
Yeah,
Really, really good. You can change up the colors on that, and it always looks great.
it could be the logo of a band called Dungeon. That's how good it is.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Second of all, what a wizard!
Now this is a wizard.
This is top five wizards that I've ever seen.
The thing about this wizard is that old guy with a beard who looks kind of unruly, sure. But this seems so observed. Like this seems like a really particular person. I wouldn't be surprised if this was drawn from like a model who I guess was maybe looking at their watch. Uh,
Oh yeah, and just this was drawn by Roger Rapp.
thanks,
And
Roger.
yeah, great. Oh, I love this guy. Um, and I wanted to look at some of these covers because like cover art is very like it's a specific thing you're supposed to be doing here as
Yeah,
the artist. You want to, whether it's for a book or a magazine or whatever, you want to make a person like hopefully notice it from far away
yeah.
at a game shop or a bookstore or on a screen, I guess. And you want to intrigue them enough, hopefully, that they open it up. And so, in a way, it doesn't even have to give you, it is like, here's what I think. I think it's less important that it give you a ton of information about what's happening,
Yeah.
and more important that it just makes you curious.
This is showing an exciting moment. And you might ask, what's in that orb? Hey, what's in that orb? I gotta find out in the magazine.
Honestly, personally, I don't care about the orb. What I care about is this wizard. I want to know everything about him.
Where did he buy his pants?
Where did he get those magnificent pants? And his t-shirt?
It does look like a t. He looks like he's wearing regular clothes and then he has a cloak and boots.
What
And when
I
I say regular clothes, I mean the regular clothes you would see at like a fish concert.
it's such a good choice for a wizard.
Yeah, it's a naturally good fit for a wizard. This looks like a guy that you would get introduced to at a festival to buy drugs from and then have to quickly figure out if you think you trust them.
Yes. And extract yourself from that conversation.
Yeah.
But but man,
Did I ever tell you about the time I rolled a cigarette for Graham Nash?
oh gosh. Yeah, but dangerous. He does look dangerous.
Yeah.
And here's the thing about this. It's that I skimmed this adventure and well, the adventure's not terrible. There's some stuff about the premise that's really really pretty interesting. You this came from the artist. All of this wizard stuff. The adventure just describes him as being evil.
I gotta say, he doesn't look particularly evil here. He looks like he's engrossed in whatever. He looks like what I think is a great, like, wizard adjacent type of person, which is like somebody who is doing a lot of Unix programming in the 70s and 80s. Like, he's just preoccupied with something that he's working on.
Did you notice he has two wands?
Dual wands.
Dual wanding.
Yeah.
New, the new frontier in wizardry.
Yeah.
Two wands.
Now, it does impair your ability to do cool hand gestures.
Oh yeah. Yeah, maybe that's why not. So you don't see it that often.
Yeah.
So I think, to summarize, successful because incredible characterization of the wizard.
Yeah.
He still looks cool, even though he's a weird old angry man. And I think that's really striking also. He's not like, he's not like a cliche of what a cool wizard is like, but there's
Yeah.
something like he's an individual. He's made some sartorial choices that are interesting. He's comfortable in his own skin and he's doing magic. That's awesome.
Well, I think the way the intensity of the composition and the focus of the composition shows that the person drawing this thinks that what he's doing is cool. But
Yeah.
whatever piece of orb magic he's doing is intrinsically interesting. It's so cool to be a wizard and cast a spell.
Yeah. I love the graphic quality um, of the white, just like the strong black and white coming out
Yeah.
of this orb.
It's very intense.
It's so good and it's an unusual choice, I think. Like we'll see all of these other pieces and most of them will be very colorful. This is a lot of black and white, but it's so striking and unusual. And that's it if you're doing a cover and you can figure out how to make something that doesn't look like other stuff. That's a really good call.
Yeah.
It's not too fussy. There's not a ton of stuff going on. Like he's got a table there with some stuff on it, but basically it's all orb and raise, and then your wizard there, and that's all that you've bothered to paint because that's all it needs. I like the way that the orb light is this kind of iridescent. Like, look closely at that. It's not just flat, it's got some weird, like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Like if you see laser lights at a rock show and they've got a smoke machine on, like
Yeah.
that kind of effect. I feel like that's been painted very carefully and it looks cool.
It does look cool. Like so the way it's kind of modeling out on the right side where it's overlaying the guy's cloak.
Hmm. And yeah, I would be as a dungeon master, uh, I would be hyped to play this guy in the game. Having seen this picture, I would look at this picture and say, "Oh my God, I'm gonna have fun with this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a highlight. Would you say there are lowlights as well?
Oh, I would. Yes, let's look at something that is not good like this very briefly. Here we go. I think that although mostly, like, we've been trying to mostly talk about stuff we think is really good, it can also be, um, I think it can also be really rewarding to talk about stuff that's not working
Yeah.
and try to figure out why that is. And this is a cover by Jim Holloway, and I don't know what else he has done. And
Yeah.
maybe he was on a big deadline and this is what happened. But I think this is not a good cover.
Let's kind of start with the fairly unsettling sort of politics of this. Um, it is not, you said from reading the adventure, you might, if you're coming into this, like what I first thought is that the guys in the front were supposed to be the heroes and the turtles are supposed to be the enemies.
Hmm.
But that isn't the case. The turtles are supposed to be the good guys, but also the event depicted on this cover does not happen in the adventure.
As far as I can tell from skimming it. Here's
Yeah.
the problem with what I was talking about earlier, where you want to be intrigued by the cover and you want to know more. This one is just confusing because you would assume naturally on a glance that the human figures would be your heroes,
Yeah.
but they seem to be running away.
Well,
which
they
is
also
not
seem
particularly heroic.
not just running away, but abducting a woman,
Yes.
which you're not supposed to do.
No, you're
No.
not supposed to do that. They're either abducting her or she's one of the party members, but she can't manage to run unless a man holds her hand.
Yeah.
Uh, but if you read or skim, as I did, the adventure, um, the setup is that these turtles, excuse me, tortles,
Yeah.
which the adventure describes as the fabled ancient race, that of the turtle.
When a mad wizard bred a tortoise with a turtle.
Turtle. And a little man in there? They got man legs.
They do have man legs
Yeah.
and arms.
You know, it would, if I hadn't known that this is not true, I would look at this and say, it's probably impossible to draw a turtle in a way that looks heroic, but that's
Yeah.
not true.
This frontmost turtle, I think, it is weird that he has a shell as a shield.
Oh, you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
Right, but okay, here's the thing. Here's counterpoint. It is weird he has a shell as a shield, but if you're turtle, you know that your back shell is part of your shield. So maybe when you make yourself a front shield for
Yeah.
extra, you carve more turtle shell onto it, decorative.
You're saying like this shield is going to be just as tough and impermeable as a shell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but getting back to what I was saying. So like these guys are you're running away heroes, and the turtles are attacking them, as far as I can tell from this.
Well, the guys are the villains, right? And the turtles are
Um,
the guys villains who aren't depicted in the adventure?
I don't know. I can't tell.
I can't
Maybe.
tell.
But if they are, then where are your player characters in this image? Because the adventure is about these poor turtles have hired you and your party to escort them across the sort of wastes because they need to bring their laid eggs to the turtle hatching ground,
Yeah.
which is not a terrible idea for
I think
adventure.
that's a great idea. An egg is sort of a sweet and tender object.
Yeah, they're very precious. They just need to get their eggs to the right temperature of sand to bury them in. And the adventure explicitly states that, like, these turtles, they're great, they're noble, and you're gonna, even if they all, like, don't make it because you got attacked by bandits or whatever, you're gonna want to get their eggs to the hatching grounds because, oh, poor babies.
Yeah.
Um, there's none of that is going on in this picture.
No. But there's no way that the guy on the left is intended to be here because he doesn't look like he has heroic determination. He looks like he just watched somebody cut him off in traffic.
Yeah. You know, I showed this to Horace, a
Yeah.
friend.
Oh yeah, what did Horace think?
Horace said it had child's Bible stories vibes.
Yeah, that is exactly what it looks like.
It maybe this is because everyone in the Bible is also kind of an asshole.
But well, there are actually so many pieces of this that seem even like the apparel kind of it looks kind of like Roman, I think is one reason, and the fact everybody's drawn with like the human characters have like 70s accoutrements, even though it's supposed to be the past.
Yeah.
Like, why is he wearing like a yellow polo and jeans?
So to get away from the subject matter,
Yeah.
compositionally, I also think this is kind of I don't think it works as a composition terribly well. Um there's a one of the things about composing an image is that you're trying to take the viewer's eyes and kind of lead them around the picture in a way that sort of keeps them in the picture, if that makes sense. Like uh you look at this and you kind of are looking for something to focus on. One of the easiest things to draw someone's eyes through a picture is a face.
Yeah.
Our clearest face is dude at the bottom there with a determined face, and that draws your eyes right away because he's framed in the very, very dark hair. So high contrast,
The
your
face
eyes
leaps.
find
It
it.
is the first thing you look at in this image, for
Yeah.
sure.
And where is his face looking? Because often what you do when you're looking at a face in a picture is you follow the lines of its eyes to see what it's looking at.
Yeah.
Well, he's looking down at the barcode
Right.
off the edge of the magazine.
Right.
So that's not good.
Even without the barcode, he would be looking at an expanse of sand.
Yeah. Not ideal.
Not ideal.
You you kind of immediately you look at this image and you just kind of fall off it right away.
I think that while I think that is true, I think other parts of the way this is composed are more successful, like the way the figures kind of snake from top right, like curve around to the left, and the way that the spear the guy's holding, the arrow piercing his shield, and then the action lines of the front two turtles make this like crosshair in the middle of the image where
Hmm.
they're opposing each other, right? And the arrow is lined up with the arrow guy, and the spear is aimed at the sword and shield guy. I think that that is effective. I think that if you let this composition lead your eye back to the shipwreck and the guy lying in the sand, I think that is interesting. There is like your eye can travel around this image, but it is also true that you're immediately propelled to these two figures in the front and then from there out of the image.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, in the pages of Dungeon Magazine, a lot of the covers were actually really good, and we should look at another
Yeah,
one
let's
next.
do one.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Get ready for
Also, just real quick before you change this,
yeah.
what is going on with the way that they painted the front guy's arm and shoulder? What's happening there?
Yeah,
He
sometimes
looks
you're
like
on a
he's,
deadline.
yeah, okay,
Sometimes you just do your best,
okay.
you know. It's hard.
But sometimes,
Do you know who painted this?
hmm?
Do you know who painted this?
Who?
Daniel Horn.
Damn.
Yeah. The painter of the best beholder
Yeah.
ever. We're gonna do a whole episode with
We'll
this stuff.
talk about that. Doesn't surprise me that this is Daniel Horn. This is astonishing.
Because it's fantastic.
And it has a certain level of grotesquerie that you gotta hand it to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I adore this so much. It's so
Okay.
good.
There are some particular effects here, like this weird sense of heat, like the like maroon fuchsia, but then the like orange at the center of the bodies of the weird frog monsters, and then with the stuff that glows in this image seems to pop out of it. It's really glowing, like it seems to glow out of the context of the image.
Yeah. The lighting is so beautiful. This blue lighting that's hitting the tops of the frog guys and
Yeah,
the wizard and the smoke from his pipe, and it's hitting the edges of those maroon stones. Oh, it's
yeah,
so delicate, so good.
yeah,
The design of these frog guys. Someday I'd like to draw a monster that's as good as these. Like usually you're like, oh, it's some frog guys. So you look at some pictures of frogs and then you basically draw a bigger frog. But he didn't stop there. He did something new with frogs, something new and incredible.
yeah. While getting at their weird kind of uh, truculent fragility and unusual body shape, there's some other stuff going on too.
Yeah, they got some abs.
Yeah. But abs like a sumo wrestler has, right? They just have little weird little bodies.
It's they're so good. I want to I'm instantly interested in knowing what's going on here.
Yeah, the wizard looks like, like he looks a little smug.
Yeah.
Um, he's kind of like, like you've arrived too late, adventurer. He's kind of one of those.
Yep. Look at his messed up, crazy hand. Look at how good that is.
Yeah.
With long nails.
This guy has some Alan Moore energy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That would be how you would want to play him.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a guy that worships a snake he made up.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just very good. Here's it comparatively, compositionally. You look at this, you look at the wizard, and then you've got just a nice little circle. This is your classic triangular composition, one of the best hits of kinds of compositions you can have. It always works.
Yeah.
and it's working well here. You wider things at the bottom. At the top, you have a like point of interest, and you just keep on going around that little circle, picking out new details, having a good time with your eyes.
Yep.
Really, really wonderful.
Yeah.
The two frog guys, they're not the same. They're characterized as
No,
two different guys.
they really are. Each one of these, it's just you could go in with nothing but this cover and then role play as all of these
Yes,
guys.
I say like frog guy on the left, he's more of a thinker.
Yeah.
Frog guy on the right, man of action.
Man of action. The frog guy on the left maybe is a little paranoid, maybe a little cautious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's considering.
Yeah.
He's considering his next move.
Yeah.
The guy on the right there, he just remembered what you said to him 5 minutes ago and realized that it was actually an insult.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, he can't believe it.
One really nice detail with the lighting is the way that it's like lighting up the guy's weed smoke from his pipe
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah, this is just so good.
Yeah,
It's so
beautiful sense
solid.
of color and texture here.
Yeah, yeah. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Good work. Shall we look at the last piece?
Yeah, last one.
Okay, here we go. Uh, there it is. Hooray!
Yeah.
This one's my favorite.
Really?
Yeah, I really think so. I think it just, maybe it's not the best painting, but I think that this kind of, I don't know, this is everything I want to see from an illustration that's about people playing D&D.
Yes, it is a very D&D'd out paint. And I'd say there's a lot to recommend. I think this one's really charming.
Yeah, so here's the best surprise. You know who painted this?
Who?
Janelle Jacquez.
Wait, really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that she did a bunch of illustrations.
She did a bunch of illustrations, and I knew this, and it was actually a surprise to me too. Because of course she's more famous as being one of the greatest, like, writers from early D&D and one of the
Yeah,
greatest, like, adventure designers, and you and me both have like run some of her work, and it's incredible.
yeah,
But yeah, she was an artist too, and I had previous to this, I had only seen her like spaceship paintings, which are totally cool, but it's just it's like a spaceship flying around in
yeah,
space. So and when we picked these from the whole swath of all dungeon magazines, we just picked the ones we liked. We didn't look up who did them.
mhm,
So when I checked it out, I was like, "This is incredible! It's so good." And
yeah,
I think that this characteristic that we both picked out, where it's like, this looks like what it looks like when you play D&D.
yeah.
I think that's part of why is like this is being painted by someone that knows deeply what happens when you play some D&D.
Yeah. It's it D&D is nothing but saying I'm stringing a rope over here so that I can come down more like this.
Yes.
Like if I put the potion down, is it gonna roll off the stone head? Yeah. Okay. Can I get one of the big leaves? Yeah, there's a leaf around. Okay, I put two leaves down, then I put the potion on top of the leaf.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's concerned with this sort of like environment, built environment, or just like the environment that you're moving through. And it's concerned with having like it's not a fight scene. It's just a bunch of little guys trying to make their way in a big crazy world, which is what this adventure is about, which I also skimmed, and it's um hysterically the because this adventure is about being trapped accidentally in a sphere of diminishment. So
Yeah.
everyone is small, and they had to start the adventure with about 2.5 pages of rules about which spells work in which ways now that you are
Yeah.
small, and why your clothes, why not just that your clothes also get small, but why.
Like I would immediately be saying things like, "Well, can I lift 50 times my own body weight if I'm the size of an ant?"
Yeah, they
You
had
know?
they had to cover this exhaustively in the opening material for
Yeah.
just that reason, because it's what is it? What year is this? 19, I can't read it. 89. Uh
Yeah,
It's
89.
you couldn't just leave this up to the DM in 1989. You had to make sure everyone was on the same page.
Do you think that's changed?
I think that I mean, I don't know, I don't know much about like trad D&D nowadays, but I know that like in the indie scene, it's more of a like, you know, people are encouraged not to try to win by arguing for little workarounds because of the rules.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's actually a really difficult task to write adventures for just the public as a whole. And big ups to anybody who can do it because in some ways I think it is just like a useful bit of safeguarding to say, in case anybody asks, here's the stuff about being small.
Yeah. Well, you should try reading
Yeah.
this adventure because you read it and you think, oh no, oh no,
Yeah.
oh no. What happened in playtesting
Yeah.
that did this
They
to
had to
you?
add these one argument at a time.
Yeah.
But
What oh my.
yeah.
But to get back to this cover, like, in contrast to, I feel like we've looked at two images that are like, this is just kind of a portrait of a guy. A wizard, generally. That's the most interesting guy you can have a portrait of. Or this is some adventuring is happening here. And this isn't a fight scene,
Yeah.
but it looks like fun. It actually, even though everyone is small and you're looking down at them, it looks like they're doing like some kind of like fun, heroic stuff with friends.
It looks like you're having an adventure in like the vernacular sense of the word adventure, this sort of like wild, unplanned event that you're kind of going along by the skin of your teeth, and maybe it'll work out or maybe not.
Yeah.
It does seem like intrinsically fun to do.
Yes. Yes. It looks like a good time.
Yeah.
And and not knowing, not have like looking at this without reading the adventure first, like choosing which moment to depict from an adventure, I think has been done really skillfully here. Because this is visually interesting.
Yeah.
There's clues that what has happened is that your party is small now. One of them has a giant needle. I didn't even catch that at first because it's such a fine little detail. There's some magic stuff going on. You can see the in the lower right hand corner that guy is standing on the sphere of diminishment.
Yeah.
So it's got like you've got indications of the storyline here. Like clearly, our artist read through this adventure carefully before picking this moment to depict.
One
Uh,
thing that Two things that jump out to me about the way this is composed, and I think that we can actually, there's a through line of a lot of these of the role of faces in composition.
yeah.
This also has a giant face that immediately jumps out at you and is the first thing to look at.
Hmm.
But this face is looking back at the rest of the picture, right? So that it's both, I think, really smart to say there should be a big face in this image because otherwise it looks like a bunch of miniatures. Like if you imagined that this was just like a castle wall or whatever, it wouldn't be nearly as
Yeah,
interesting.
how can you tell that people are small if
Yeah.
yeah?
Yeah, that's a great point, right? I need to put something really big in there for scale that you can tell is out of proportion. And then making sure that it is actually going to favor your composition, right? That it is going to play a role.
Yeah. It's so smart. I didn't even catch that the eyes are directing you back into the picture, but that's so smart.
Yeah.
I love that this works both as a large image that you can see from far away and you see, look, that's a cool messed up little goblin. And then as you get in closer and spend more time in it, you start like I bet you could like sit down and like work out a whole sequence of events of these guys. Like
Yeah.
they've had to climb up here from far below. It's full of water. There's all of these interesting, nicely painted details to look at. Uh, also, the lighting is beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
I love that this is lit with like this low slanting light as though it's a certain time of day. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it gives me such a feeling of space, like place and time. Uh,
Yeah.
it's so it's so good. It's so immersive because of that.
Yeah. It's like beautiful, like I always think of the painter Wayne Thiebaud, but those these like
Yeah.
deep blue
Yeah, beautiful blue shadows. That's what I want to see in art. I want to see art that makes me remember, like, all that time I was hanging out with my friends and the slanting light was hitting
Yeah.
just right, and we were all engaged in some sort of activity. That was so good. Everything was beautiful. The waters were limpid. The wizardry was going off. We were gonna,
Yeah.
yeah,
One of my friends was saying, "Hey, look at the orb I just found. It's
hey
down
guys,
here."
check it out. What do you suppose this is? Yeah, that happens all the time when we hang out,
Yeah.
and it's a beautiful moment. You sit on that giant goblin skull and you think, I gotta remember this.
Yeah.
I gotta remember this for, later when I'm not feeling so good or having a bad time.
Yep.
Think about that time when I was out with my friends on the goblin skull and we were making it happen. We were living life.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I hope all of you out there have one of those moments
Yep. In
this
this
week.
crazy dungeon we call life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it the truth? Well, until next time.
Keep on dreaming.
That was great. Thank you.